Hey everyone, Lance here. And in our last episode, we had Sarah Banta, owner of Accelerated Health Products, explaining what beta hydroxybutyrate is and why it's such an incredible fuel for our bodies. So today she'll be discussing how to make sure your body has enough of this type of fuel to be able to use it as a consistent fuel source. Also in the description area below, we'll have additional notes and information, including a link to Sarah's website, which is accelerated.healthproducts.com. And as a quick reminder, before we get started here, is that everything we're talking about today, it's for educational purposes only. So nothing we discuss is meant to cure, treat, or diagnose any illness or disease. So Sarah, is there anything you'd like to highlight or recap from our last discussion before getting into today's topic?
Sure, Lance. Great to see you again, by the way. And yes, just a little recap. When your ketone levels are consistently between 0.6 and 3 millimolars, you're in nutritional ketosis. That's the definition. And the advantages to that is it increases cognitive function, clear thinking, higher focus, gets rid of brain fog. And that was a huge part of why I am living this lifestyle, is because I was having a lot of cognitive issues. Stabilizes your blood sugar and gets you out of insulin resistance, and would help type 2 diabetics get their blood sugar back into a normal range. Gives you great physical and mental energy, helps with weight loss, and for athletes, helps maintain muscle mass while weight loss, while you achieve fat loss. And better workout performance in general for the athlete, and fights cancer. It starves out cancer because most cancers need glucose to survive. The one that I had forgot to mention, but is huge, is it balances hormones. For men, it increases testosterone and HGH. And whether you're a teenage boy wanting to make sure you're getting the most out of your human growth hormone during that huge growth period and building muscle, or you're in your 30s and 40s and you start losing that HGH and testosterone, that's really important for men, and their muscle definition goes down, their vitality goes down, and it's very humbling for a lot of men. And for women, a lot of people say, oh, women should not be in ketosis, but it's actually the opposite. PCOS is something that a lot of women, and it's becoming more prevalent, are suffering from, which is caused by insulin resistance. And I personally had that myself, and it can cause issues with fertility. And it usually is characterized by higher levels of testosterone. So when you're in ketosis, it brings that level of testosterone back into a normal balance with your female hormones, and increases fertility rates for both men and women. So just a summary, ketosis is really good for hormonal balance in both men, women, girls, boys, and it's something that's very important.
Wow. And just to clarify there, and it's not going to give you, it's not going to push your hormones too far, correct? No. It's just bringing them into balance, kind of a thing.
Exactly. It's not going to swing the pendulum too far the other way. It just puts them right into the right balance. I've had clients who haven't been able to get pregnant, and all of a sudden within 2 months they're getting pregnant when they're not really expecting to. And it's really shocking how many men suffer from estrogen dominance in their 20s and are suffering, and they're having issues with testosterone. And that's not an issue that was happening in 10, 15 years ago. There's just so much sugar and glucose and estrogenic effects and influences, and chemicals in the environment that are causing testosterone issues in men.
Okay.
So now that we kind of covered that, I wanted to go over the 4 things that will help optimize your BHB levels. And to review, BHB is beta hydroxybutyrate, which is the ketone. So your body takes in fat, your liver converts the fat to beta hydroxybutyrate or acetoacetate, And that is the fuel that your body runs on when you're in ketosis.
Okay.
So the first thing that is really important is to follow a ketogenic diet. And it's not difficult. Back in the 70s, they only used it for kids with seizures, and it was looked at as an impossible diet to follow. But now it's become mainstream, and there's keto snacks out there. You focus on your green vegetables. You focus on healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, salmon and fatty meats and ribeyes and chicken on the bone with the skin on it. Those are the things you focus on, which are tasty foods, and you just cut out the carbs. And a lot of people were already on the paleo diet or a low carb diet, but a lot of people were doing low carb, low fat. And so the brains were starving and they weren't really getting the benefits. So when you add in the healthy high fats, that is what's going to push you into ketosis.
And when you're cutting out carbs, it's not necessarily cutting out vegetable carbs, but more the grain carbs. Is that the idea?
Yes. The grains and the root vegetables like potatoes and things that are underground. At times those are appropriate. If you're an elite athlete, you can throw those in once in a while. Everyone's different. So if you're a type 2 diabetic and you're in your 60s and you've had a lifetime of eating tons of sugar, your body's not going to be so forgiving, and you probably need to stay within a range of 20 grams or less during the day. Now, I tell clients, eat as much greens as you want, salads, vegetables, roast them in olive oil or coconut oil or butter or ghee, and you don't worry about it. I'm not one that says you get out your calculator and count, because obviously this needs to be doable. It needs to be a lifestyle that's sustainable. And I'm not, as much as I'm a math person and I love keeping track of things, for me, even I don't count my carbs. I just stick to the healthy meats and vegetables and the healthy fats.
Cool.
So number 2 would be intermittent fasting. And when I talk about this with people who are not in ketosis, they look at me like I'm crazy. They wake up, they need their breakfast, they need their first meal. And I know, Lance, you and I have talked about this.
Exactly. Yep.
People feel like they need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. And I understand it, because I used to do that. But the reason you do that is because when you're burning glucose, your body only has so much storage of the glucose in the body. And so you have to keep refueling. When you are in ketosis, your body's using its own fat stores for energy. And so you could keep going and going and going without eating. And in fact, the longer you go, most people will report that their brain energy and their physical energy is even higher. And that's definitely the case for me. When I'm doing some important work or a workout, I will be fasting or using exogenous ketones to pump up my ketosis level to get the most out of my performance, whether it's mental or physical. And intermittent fasting would typically look like 16 hours a day of not eating. So you're eating within an 8-hour period. That would be like last meal being at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and starting your first meal the next day at noon. Now, the big question I always get is, well, does coffee count? Do taking my exogenous ketones count? And the answer is yes and no. It depends on your purpose of intermittent fasting. Are we intermittent fasting because we're a severe cancer patient and we're trying to reach the most optimal level and get the most out of this autophagy that happens during fasting windows? Mm-hmm. Then I would say you want to drink only water, because even coffee on its own can stimulate a response of some sort in the body. Now, if you're a healthy person and you're just wanting to get the benefits of the ketosis, the fat burning, that sort of thing, drink your coffee, make it a fatty coffee by putting your MCT oil in it, your coconut oil, or your exogenous ketones, and you're totally fine.
And that's where you're still going to get that enhanced brain performance you're talking about, or that some of those, high level performance.
Right. So you're not going to affect. So when you're taking exogenous ketones or you're taking coffee with no sugar, your insulin is not being spiked to the point where your ketones are going to be lowered. In fact, if you're taking exogenous ketones, your ketone level will be increased beyond what you would get just through nutritional ketosis. So what happens is, as you do this with time and your body becomes keto adapted, it's very simple. You almost forget to eat. But when you are hungry, your body will tell you you're hungry with a true hunger. And that hunger is telling you, I want fat, I want protein. It's very interesting how your body stops craving the sugar and the carbs.
And is it a different type of, or sensation of hunger?
It is, because when you're dependent on carbs and glucose, you get a headache typically. You get kind of hangry and little you want to punch a wall. You want to get people out of your way. But when you're in ketosis and you're hungry, you have this deep hunger in your stomach and your energy is lower, and your body's telling you it's time for me to eat. But at the same time, if you still need to wait an hour or two to get to your meal, your body's fine. You're just going to go, okay, I can handle this. I'll have some water or something to hold me over. But you're not you're not dying to eat, like that feeling you get when you are living off of glucose for energy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
So number 3 would be avoid the hidden carbs. And so many people will come to me after a couple of weeks of trying ketosis, and they'll say, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. I'm not losing weight. In fact, I might be gaining weight. I don't feel well. And I will then go through their diet and we'll go, well, you are eating too many carbs. You're not in ketosis. And so a lot of things that will kick people out are fruit. People say, well, fruit's healthy, right? Well, a banana has 27 carbs. And as I said before, you want to stay under 20 grams of carbs a day. Some people can handle 30 to 50, depending on how insulin resistant they are. But I always say your goal is 20, because if you go over, then you're still probably okay. A granola bar, 31 grams of carbs. So one bar, you have killed your daily dose. A baked potato, 37 carbs, but it's a vegetable, right? Well, no, it's one that's underground. It's a root vegetable. You have to be careful. Oh my gosh, I had a client who said, I'm gaining weight. I don't understand this. What's going on? And she was having a Frappuccino from Starbucks every morning. And hers was over 160 carbs in one cup. So she's starting out her day with that, and she's taking exogenous ketones. So what is that telling the body? The body it's like putting diesel and gasoline in the gas tank at the same time, and the car doesn't know what to do and what to use. So you really want to be careful with that, because our ancestors did not have exogenous ketones. So you have to think the body never was given ketones and carbs or sugar or glucose at the same time. So now we're in this scenario where we've got this great source of exogenous ketones that can kick you into ketosis, but we also can eat a bagel or have a Frappuccino at the same time.
Right.
That was never something that was even possible back with our ancestors when they were in nutritional ketosis.
So what happens to our bodies when we're doing that back and forth within the same day? Like you said, Frappuccino and then exogenous ketones, and then we're repeating that day. What's going on internally, I guess? Okay,
so what do you think? If the body is given ketones, which is a quick energy, right? And it's got all these sugars in there too, where do you think the sugars are going to go to?
Well, it's probably going to store the sugar, I'm assuming, because the ketones are what it likes to use. But then it's got this extra energy that's like, this is not my preferred fuel source. I'm just going to sock it away. Is that
Exactly. So it spikes the insulin and it stores those sugars directly as fat. So it
Hmm.
doesn't even give the body a chance to use them up. So if you're going to have the Frappuccino, do not take the exogenous ketones at the same time. Now, if someone wants to cheat and have their carbs,
Yeah.
I recommend doing it as far away in the day from the exogenous ketones.
Mm. Okay.
And that leads us to number 4, taking the BHB salts or exogenous ketones. So beta hydroxybutyrate salts is what it's called. So what are exogenous ketones? They come in forms of capsules or typically shakes. I've explored with both, and in the exogenous ketone shake, you drink it typically in the morning. Right when you wake up is a great time, because after fasting overnight, you're already slightly in ketosis. So this pushes you a little bit more and deeper into ketosis to get you even more benefit. And it helps you avoid the keto flu or detox symptoms if you're a beginner. So when you first start out on the ketogenic diet, a lot of people will experience the keto flu, which can be nausea, just lethargy, and really brain fog, actually, and physical lack of physical energy as well. When you do the exogenous ketones, it will quickly kick you into ketosis within 30 minutes, so you're not feeling those detox symptoms.
Hmm. Okay. So the
So
exogenous ketones is it's like both a fuel source or a source of the ketones for your body to start using, or and then it also, I guess, is like a catalyst that allows your body to quickly get into ketosis. So is it kind of like functions in those two forms? Is that
yes, and
the
then
idea?
what the other neat thing is as you continue to do it, within 2 to 4 weeks, your body is going to become more keto adapted. So the exogenous ketones teach your body how to convert fat into ketones. So if
Hmm.
someone's been on a low fat diet for most of their life, they actually might report saying, I can't eat that fat. I feel nauseous. I don't feel like I can digest it. And they're probably right. I do sell some digestive enzymes that help with digesting fats and helping the body get used to digesting those fats and converting them into ketones.
Hmm.
And that's an issue with the gallbladder and the liver. So the gallbladder just needs to get used to digesting those fats, and the liver needs to learn to convert those fats into ketones.
Okay.
And that's where that's also, I'll touch on this in a little bit, on where my keto detox bundle supports the beginning stages of trying the ketogenic diet. But number 5 would be exercise. Doing intense exercise will produce ketones. And this is really interesting, and a lot of studies are going on right now about what types of exercise produce different levels of ketones. And we could get really nerdy here, where you may say you do sprints versus a long marathon, or not even a marathon, but like an hour of a just steady state run. One might show a higher level of blood ketones, and one may show a higher level of breath ketones. But when you are utilizing the ketones more efficiently, and you've been in ketosis for a long time, your blood's not necessarily going to have a lot of ketones just floating around in there, because it's gotten really efficient at burning those ketones. And in the beginning, when you're doing exogenous ketones and you haven't necessarily learned to convert fat to ketones efficiently, you might actually have a lot more ketones in the blood, but not as much actually coming out in the breath, which is showing the actual usage of the ketones. Does that make sense?
Wow, interesting. Yeah. So the breath is the true gauge. It's not just how much ketones are in the body, but how well your body's using those ketones, and
Right.
measuring them in the breath is giving you that gauge. Um,
Right.
so some people may be misled if they're measuring ketones in the blood. Like I think I've seen those blood test analysis things where you prick your finger and it measures ketones. And
Yeah.
is that the disadvantage then of that is you still don't know how well your body is using these ketones.
Right. And a funny story is when I first started taking exogenous ketones, I was talking to Amanda Stevens, who is a professional iron woman. And
Cool.
she's a ketogenic through and through. It saved her life. It increased her PRs and helped her hormonally, and it was awesome.
Hmm.
And we were comparing our ketone levels, and I was higher than her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing better than a pro iron woman. Well, the
Right.
reality is that she was keto adapted. She's doing it totally through nutrition and no exogenous ketones. And her body had become efficient to using what ketones it needed. And here I was just taking exogenous ketones, doing a much shorter workout and carrying around more ketones in my blood, but that did not necessarily mean I was using all of those ketones.
Okay. Is there
So,
any value to the knowing the amount of ketones in your blood? Does that serve a purpose
um,
or
I
benefit?
guess it would show how efficiently you are using them. And then it would also, if you're testing different products against each other, different exogenous ketones, you could measure what is giving you a bigger boost in BHB in your blood. And
Mm.
then the other thing would be if you're testing different foods, like I was just listening to someone talk about testing different keto protein bars,
Oh.
and if they truly were keto, and or did they kick you out of ketosis. And so that would be something where you could use the blood or either one, either way of testing to test if a bar or a certain food was kicking you out of ketosis or enhancing your ketosis.
Okay, cool.
So and then I wanted to go through why the supplements in the keto detox bundle that I have enhances your results for keto and makes things much easier. The goal of ketosis is to reduce inflammation, to prevent cancer, to help with energy, physical, mental, all the things we mentioned above. So the number one would be the accelerated silver, which helps the body's immune system. It boosts the immune system. It cleans things out. It works on the blood. And the accelerated silver versus other colloidal silvers is made with distilled water versus reverse osmosis water. And we use a technology that makes it be able to bypass the gut and get into the system. A
Hmm.
lot of supplements in general and a lot of colloidal silvers and even ionic silvers, they talk about particle size and they talk about their different ppm levels, but it doesn't mean anything if it can't get into the system. So,
Yeah.
so it's like comparing apples to oranges. So we worry less about our overall silver content and focus on the unique method of delivery, which comes from our ultrafine pure silver hydrosol and successfully getting it through the gut into the system. So that would be number one.
Okay. And just to clarify with the silver, is there something specifically it's really helping with from a ketogenic standpoint, like the immune boost you mentioned, but is there something that it's how it's helping there directly?
It's just supporting your goals of anti-inflammation, boosting the immune system, and just giving your whole body and system an amazing, efficient boost in health overall. So is the accelerated silver putting you deeper into ketosis. I cannot claim that.
Mm.
I've had people say that it has lowered their blood pressure and it's lowered their blood glucose, but I can't claim that. And we
Mm.
have not done any studies on that. That's just from client feedback.
Okay.
So, but in general, it's just helping with the goals in mind that you have for keto.
Okay.
And the second would be the Lateroflora, which kills the E. coli, Salmonella, and Candida in the gut, and it balances yeast levels in vaginal flora. Now, this is something that's very important. Your gut microbiome could be causing weight gain just on its own. So by killing the bad bugs in your gut, you are supporting the weight loss and cleaning things out and killing off the bad stuff and improving the good genes and that sort of thing that goes along with ketosis.
Mm.
The detox powder, the accelerated cellular detox powder. This is phenomenal. There are a lot of detox powders out there. There are a lot of activated charcoal formulas, but there is no formula that contains all 6 of these ingredients that are organic. And zeolite is number 1, and it helps soak up the poisons, heavy metals, and pulls them from the body and takes them out gently through the colon. The diatomaceous earth, it detoxes the body and kills parasites and fungus as well. The organic psyllium, it expands like a sponge and cleans out the whole digestive tract, and creates regularity, which most people have an issue with. And also during keto, your bowel movements may change. Some people may get a little diarrhea in the beginning, and some people actually report constipation. So that's something that if you are having one of those 2 issues, definitely reach out to me, and I can help you find a good balance.
Yeah.
The organic triphala, which is an Ayurvedic herb that balances the digestive system, regulates the bowel movements, and balances the doshas, which is the water, fire, and air elements in the body. And slippery elm, which helps create mucilage and makes stool softer and helps coat where the ulcers are maybe and bring down inflammation in the colon and helps people with IBS. And then, of course, the activated charcoal, which helps soak up more toxins and really detox the body. And so when you're in ketosis and you're killing off all of these bad bugs and the body's really cleaning out and the autophagy is starting to happen when you're intermittent fasting, your body's going through this whole cleanse. The detox powder is soaking up all of those toxins and carrying them through your colon very, very gently, so that the burden on the liver and the kidneys is much less.
And as a result, you're, I assume, not as likely to feel bad then from all these bad things that are now passing through your system. This is soaking them up instead.
Absolutely. It's so nice. It's actually this real interesting feeling when you drink it. It tastes like dirt, not going to lie. So I put it in water with apple cider vinegar and a little stevia. It tastes like apple juice. Or you can do lemon and stevia and it tastes like lemonade. It cuts the taste. But I'll take it and it just kind of settles my whole system, settles my stomach. My kids will ask for it when their stomachs are hurting.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's been my favorite detox powder, and I've tried a number of them. And I agree. Like I've even tried clays and things like that, where sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll drink it. But with this, it's like I don't have that negative, like, oh no, I got to drink this. This is not exciting, but it does have kind of that soothing effect, which I think maybe, I don't know if it's the slippery elm or some of the other things in there. Mm-hmm. It is. And I like that it actually stirs up reasonably well. Some of the others, you're mixing them and it gets all gooey and different things. But I really like it. Yeah.
And I have been working with changing the ratios of different things because, a couple of years ago it was too heavy in one and not enough of another, where some people were actually getting a little constipated and they were feeling a little bloated, which is obviously not what we were going after. So we've upgraded it and we've upgraded it, and now it's really a nice balance of the ingredients, and you're getting people with diarrhea are going to get more regular, and people that are constipated are going to get more regular. So it's going to help and balance in either direction.
Is this one that's safe to say you can kind of take it every day? It's just like a daily
Oh,
maintenance?
yes, for sure.
That's cool.
I recommend taking it every day, because even when you're not in keto, and this is for anybody, not in keto, whatever your diet is, it's soaking up the toxins. You don't need to be on a strict diet or doing a liver flush or anything like that. You're just soaking up the toxins from the day, the environmental toxins, the pesticides, the stuff that you may not be used to eating, soaks up alcohol. So people who are drinking more than they normally drink, or drinking at all, will take it at night afterwards, and they don't have a hangover because it soaks up the alcohol as a toxin.
Wow, that's cool.
So, and then it has in the next supplement in the bundle is the oxalate, which is really important when you're in ketosis. It's a multivitamin electrolyte drink with minerals and amino acids. When you are in ketosis, you lose water weight. And in that water weight, you're losing your minerals, your salt and your potassium and magnesium. So you really need to make sure you're replenishing that. And the oxalate is super bioavailable. It's an incredible immune booster with vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's something I take a couple times a day, in fact, and I can feel it when I don't have it.
Wow, cool. So it's not just when you're trying to get healthy, even when you're just, it's an ongoing thing you're taking.
Oh yeah, and it's great for kids. Doesn't matter what diet they're on its own, it's just giving the kids a good, nice, round, general multivitamin, and it keeps their immune system strong, and helps keep them in school just like the silver would.
Okay, cool.
So the next would be the Restore. It's been shown to create a beneficial shift in the bacteria that makes up the microbiome, which, as I'm sure everyone's heard, is super important for your health, your brain, the gut-brain axis that there is, and how the microbiome has so much effect on your overall health. And it works better than probiotics and prebiotics in itself, because it creates an environment that where your body's going to start producing its own probiotics that are in the right balance in your system. So do I still take probiotics? Yes, I'll take them once. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll take probiotics maybe 2 to 3 times a week instead of every day. And the Restore is also healing the leaky gut. Now, part of the benefit of keto is the intermittent fasting and keeping your body, when it's in ketosis and not releasing insulin, is when your body is turned on the good genes and healing genes. So as your body's in that state of wanting to heal, you're taking Restore to heal the leaky gut even more effectively. And just like with the detox powder and the silver, those things are cleaning out and healing the system while you're in ketosis. You're not releasing insulin, and it's just pushing you further and faster into your optimal health stage.
Wow. So you have a product like Restore, very powerful, but you're actually able to get more out of it, is what you're saying, when you're in a ketogenic diet or state.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, when you're taking Restore and you're trying to heal the leaky gut, and then you go out and have pizza and a Coke, it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, because it's the sugar, the carbs, the gluten, the toxins that cause leaky gut, the antibiotics, and all of those things. So I have a client whose son is not ready to do the ketogenic diet, but just is on Restore, oxalate, and silver, and he is having no tummy trouble, was quote unquote no more tummy trouble. Wow. And that was within a week or so. So wow. It's very powerful. And
Cool.
then, of course, the last supplement in the keto detox bundle is the exogenous ketones.
Hmm.
So, in that will shift your body into ketosis within 30 minutes. So things are much easier and quicker, and you're in that state where you're like, okay, I feel great. I can do this. I can implement all these things that we just talked about. The intermittent fasting, staying on a low carb, higher fat diet, and starting to do things a little slower. And it helps you, it gives you that freedom and wiggle room if you don't do things perfectly. So that's always nice, because people are afraid to jump in knowing that they may cheat, they may mess up, and that's okay.
Yeah, or sometimes you have maybe the birthday party or something coming up, and whatever it is, you're going to indulge, or you want whatever it might be. That it gives you, like you said, a little bit of flexibility. That's nice.
Right. I wanted to touch on a little bit of the history of beta hydroxybutyrate and ketosis, because people think, oh, well, this is just another diet fad that we're going through and it's going to be gone.
Absolutely, yeah.
The reality is humans in the hunter-gatherer era have survived thanks to metabolic flexibility, meaning their body can go back and forth between burning glucose and burning ketones for energy. If you think about the hunters out there who, weren't eating for a day or two because they hadn't killed any meat, their bodies are not set up to get more and more tired without eating, because if that happened, they'd just die. They wouldn't be able to then have the energy to go out and search for their food. And the other part is their bodies would not lose muscle mass. So if they were to be losing muscle mass and getting weaker and weaker without eating, they wouldn't be able to go run after their kill. So what happens is when you're in ketosis, these hunter-gatherers would get more mental clarity and more physical energy and maintain their muscle mass while in ketosis to go get their meat. But then their bodies can go back to burning glucose for energy and back and forth. Once you're keto adapted, you can go back and forth a lot easier. And if you have become more insulin sensitive through being in ketosis for a bit of time, and you go out and have some birthday cake, you're going to get back into ketosis much quicker than if you, in the beginning of your stage in trying ketosis.
That's amazing. So it's like we're getting the benefits of being in a hunter state, because that hunter state, like you said, allowed them to perform at that level of the energy, the quickness to go and hunt for food. But we were not necessarily hunting for food, but all the performance things that you get for day-to-day activities, we're getting the benefits. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And it makes sense that children produce more beta hydroxybutyrate more efficiently than adults because they're new. And a little fun tip is that there is actually ketones in breast milk. So when people say, oh, you're pregnant, you shouldn't be doing the ketogenic diet. Well, the healthy fats are what are the child's brain needs, and it's in the breast milk. So if I were pregnant, I would definitely not be changing my ketogenic diet.
Cool.
But then the ability to burn ketones is never lost. So even if you're type 2 diabetic, you're in your 70s or 80s, and you've been eating a high carb diet all of your life, and you're even doing insulin shots, you can convert yourself back into a ketogenic diet and into ketosis. So that's how amazing the human body is.
Cool. It's like it's embedded in the DNA of all of us. It's there. Just might need to awaken it and help the body get to that learning how to do that again. And for some, that process might be slower or quicker, but everyone has that potential to do that.
Right.
Okay.
And just to go back to the two types of beta hydroxybutyrate, endogenous and exogenous. Endogenous meaning the body's making it itself, and that's how you get it. You get it through exercise and a nutritional ketosis, being on a strict ketogenic diet, which if you were just doing it through diet, that would mean probably about 80% fat and about 15% protein and 5% carbs, which is tough to do, but not as tough as you think it is, because the fat is much higher in calories. So just a tablespoon of butter on your vegetables is a lot of calories versus the plate full of vegetables. So it seems like it's a lot more than it really is, but that's one way. And then, like we said, the exogenous ketones are the other way, where you're taking it from the outside in a shake or some capsules. And BHB salts. So this is interesting. When people are looking at different exogenous ketones and supplements, you have to really look at the company and the ingredients. The interesting part is the patent on the beta-hydroxybutyrate formula is very strict as far as what companies can charge for. So most companies will have a certain amount of beta-hydroxybutyrate in their product, and they'll be playing around with price points. And you'll say, oh, well, I'm going to use that one, it's cheaper. Well, I'm going to use that one, it's cheaper. Well, why is it cheaper? They can boost their number by using mineral salts such as potassium, calcium, sodium, or magnesium, or amino acids to boost that BHB number. And I'm getting a little bit technical, but there's one important point here, is that if you have too much calcium versus magnesium in this product, calcium constricts, magnesium relaxes. That's why if you take a magnesium bath or take magnesium, you may have diarrhea. But calcium constricts the muscles, can constrict the heart. And have you ever heard of the calcium score in your heart? Mm-hmm. That is actually the number one predictor for heart disease, is your calcium score. It's not cholesterol. It's not anything else. It's your calcium score. So if you are a heart patient, definitely ask your doctor what your calcium score is. And if they say, oh, that doesn't matter, go find another doctor. But my point in saying this is that if your product or the product you're using has too much calcium versus magnesium, you could actually have a heart attack because it can constrict the muscles in your heart. Wow. So you really need to research the company and how much of the mineral salts they are putting in to boost that BHB number. And because they're trying to fool you in lowering their price point to obviously sell product. So that's just...
Some of these companies are actually diluting the true quality of BHB. Is that the way of saying that?
Kind of. It still will boost the ketone level, but in a way that is not good for your body.
Oh, and is that because these minerals are, like you mentioned, the magnesium and so forth, are part of the BHB patent or formula? Is that part of it, or?
I don't know specifically that answer. If it's part of the formula, I don't believe so. I think the BHB salts or the ketones are the patent, part of the patent, and not the mineral salts. But what these companies are doing are adding the minerals. The other reason they're adding the minerals are great reasons. It's buffering the intensity of the free fatty acids. It's improving the taste. If you tried to drink a drink of just the BHB salts, you would spit it out. It also helps with stomach issues and GI issues, and it just helps make it more palatable. Okay. So it's not a bad thing. It's just you need, and that goes for any supplement. You really need to watch how much calcium versus magnesium is in a supplement.
Okay.
Let's see here. So the benefits of taking the exogenous ketones puts you into ketosis fast within 30 minutes. So versus if you're just doing it nutritionally, it could take some people, up to 2 weeks, depending on their insulin resistance, which is hard to do if you're not getting that initial quick results. People want that quick results, and if they're gonna do something like this, and then it decreases the keto flu symptoms like we talked about, and it normalizes blood sugar. with exogenous ketones, I've had even family members who are type 2 diabetics get within a normal blood sugar range within a month. So that is very, very powerful. And it increases fat burning, like we've talked about, and helps lower anxiety in adults and children. When kids, parents come to me and talk about the anxiety and depression the kids are experiencing, which, I've got 3 kids, 12, 14, and 16, and I'm seeing it in my own house, not the severe anxiety, but just social pressures and school pressures and athletic pressures and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
The ketones and being in ketosis will lower anxiety levels. And as you're doing the keto detox bundle with the healing of the gut, you are producing more serotonin and dopamine and GABA, which helps calm the brain. Super important. So all of these things together will give you a better gut environment and brain environment, and help with anxiety, depression, suicide, all those issues that are so prevalent now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I think that's about it, and I would love to answer more questions that we haven't gone over if people have them.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because I love all this information you talked about, and I know for the sake of time, sometimes we can only go into so much, but as anyone's watching or listening, if there's something that you wanted more information about, or it sparked another question, or maybe you've already started this process a little bit, and again, you have questions, I think that'd be great to just post those below, or they could, of course, send them through your website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com, and contact you that way. And then perhaps for our next session, we could take these different questions, and kind of from that, you can kind of do a follow-up session, if that would make sense, kind of for our next topic. But otherwise, really appreciate everyone for joining us and listening and watching today. And of course, Sarah, thank you so much for all the wonderful information. Just even going from the scientific stuff to your own experiences with you, your family, your clients. Really appreciate you kind of open up and sharing all that. So,
thanks, Lance.
Yeah, and we hope to hear and see everyone again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for joining us today. Leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and please be sure to check the description below for any additional information. Please don't hesitate to leave a comment or ask a question, as I'd love to answer as many of those as I possibly can. If there's a particular topic you'd like to hear more about, please share that in the comments below as well. Thanks again for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.